Hello, and welcome back to Behind the Headset. Today we are graced with the presence of the man who is born to respawn. It's Mac in VR. How are we, Mac?
Hello, people. I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. First of all, thank you very much for coming on and going through these interview questions with me. I've been really enjoying this so far, and it gets some really interesting questions out of people.
Okay, cool.
Put this up front. If there's anything you are not comfortable answering, that's fine. Just say you're not going to answer that, and that's cool. I don't think that will happen. They're not that probing. But I always like to put that out there first, just in case, because the whole point of this is it's not to make anyone feel uncomfortable. There's no judgment behind any of the questions. It's just to try and get to know you more as a person, because I don't think we've seen that much within VR at the minute. It tends to be more focused on the thing itself rather than the people doing it.
Yeah, like the headsets and the games and stuff, yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So, first question of the evening is, tell me something about you that I don't know.
Oh, crikey. I am the 2009 Hampsterley Winter Series downhill mountain biking champion in the veterans category.
Wow, that you will be glad to know that is something about you I did not know. So you've been mountain biking for a long time, or I guess you must have been if you were like a champion.
Yeah, I basically started mountain biking about 30 years ago, and just transitioned into racing. I didn't like the cross country racing because that was too much effort. I preferred the short, sharp downhill 5 minutes. But yeah, I raced all over the world.
Oh wow!
Raced in France, raced in Canada, Scotland, and actually got casevaced off Alpe d'Huez after crashing during the Mega Avalanche race. So there you go.
That's incredible. That's
Yes.
what I really like that question, because you get some really interesting answers. I'm the complete opposite to you. I have an e-bike because I'm lazy, so I do that. Okay,
Oh, yeah, there you
so
go.
yeah. So when you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, crikey. I wanted to be a superhero.
Any particular superhero or just your own one?
My favourite superhero was Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because he was like a young man. Because I was quite small when I was a kid and I had a big mouth. And unfortunately, that led to me being bullied. Yeah, my mother. We moved abroad when I was quite young, and so I was had an English accent in a foreign country, so I got bullied. And when I came home, I had a foreign accent in an English country and got bullied. So, yeah, I wanted to be a superhero so people wouldn't bully me.
Oh, that sounds like you couldn't win with the accent front. So where did you live abroad then?
We lived in the Bahamas for 3 years.
Oh wow!
So when I came back, I had a tan, and would you believe it? I actually had ash blonde hair.
There's got to be some pictures of this from when you grew up, and I need to see these at some point. So next time, no, I do, I absolutely do, and they will in no way, shape, or form ever end up on social media. So I don't know what you're worried about. Cool. Okay. So what is your most treasured memory from your childhood?
Oh, crikey, that's a difficult one. Blimey.
I get people thinking.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I'll be honest with you, and I'm quite open about it. I had quite a troubled childhood because my parents weren't particularly good parents. Like moving abroad when they did, it really screwed me up. But when we were abroad, we went to Disney World or Disneyland. I can't remember whichever one's in Florida.
You're asking the wrong person. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
One of them.
Whichever one's in Florida, like they just built. This is back in 1979.
Wow.
And it is video game related actually. It's back in 1979. So we went to the Epcot Center had just been built, and I had a really nice time at Disney World. And before they changed the name of it, it used to be called Miami Airport. And I was stood in Miami Airport, and I saw a queue of people, and I thought, "Oh, what's going on over there?" And I could hear this noise. And I went over, and there was a Space Invaders cabinet, and there was a queue of people because these things were quite unusual. so we had a bit of time for our flight. So I asked my mother for a quarter. That's how much, or was it a dime? I can't remember. It's like 10 cents or 25 cents. I can't remember. And I stood in the queue. And when I got to the front, I put my money in, and I've been watching. So I played, and I was like, this is, even right to this very day, I can feel the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because as a 9-year-old child, I was just like, no, hold on, I wasn't 9, was I? How old was I? I would have been 12. I'd have been 12. As a 12-year-old boy who'd never seen anything like this before, all of a sudden I'm a tank and I'm shooting down these aliens, and there's sound and there's people all like looking at what I'm doing, and yeah, it was. I think that trip to Disney World or Disneyland, I can't remember which one. That's my fondest childhood memory, and also caused me to be exactly where I am now, I guess.
It's funny, actually, 'cause I was thinking about this the other day. It's like arcades don't really exist anymore.
No.
And when I was growing up, I remember like everyone huddling around like the Mortal Kombat cabinet, because it was the first one that came out, and it was blood and it looked like real people, and I use that in the loosest sense of the term when you look at it now. But it's the advances as you go from there. But yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, I'd say Space Invaders for me as well. I mentioned this on another one. My dad worked in the brewery industry. Used to go and fix everything in pubs, and some days I go with him to work in the summer holidays, and it'd be literally like, here's 10 pence, go and waste your time on the arcade machine in the pub. So yeah, I can empathise with that. It's really cool.
It's I mean, I remember a time when there used to be an arcade machine in the chip shop.
Yeah, and it was always asteroids.
Yes, they must have had a deal.
It was always asteroids. It was 2 buttons.
Place your order. Yeah, place your order. Put your 10 pence in, or however much it costs, and away you go.
That was back when the controls were literally 3 buttons, and it was 1 button to turn left, 1 button to turn right, and the other button to boost. Oh, and 1 more button to shoot as well. Yeah.
And you could shoot. One of the things I liked about Asteroid is you could move and boost, but you could turn while you were going in the opposite direction and fire back. I thought that was groundbreaking.
Yeah, that was. What was it? Babylon 5 did the same thing with all of their fights, the space combat scenes, because they used the proper inertia and the Newtonian physics and that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can actually do that in Elite Dangerous as well.
Yes, you can. A friend of mine.
It's so difficult.
I used to play Elite Dangerous with. He was a master at that, and I couldn't. He was like, "No, it's easy. Just do this."
I hate people like that. Oh, it's just easy. It's like, no, it's not. You've done this for so long. I mean, I've got like 600 odd hours or so in Elite Dangerous, and I still can't do it. No. So,
I put about 100 hours into Elite Dangerous and then stepped away because I was like, this is crack cocaine.
It is. Again, that's another reason why I don't play stuff like World of Warcraft, because I know what I'm like. And I'm like, no, because I'll get sucked into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're hosting a dinner party. You can invite any 3 people you want. They can be living or dead. They can be fictional or real. Who are you inviting?
Wow. I read a lot of Second World War books.
Right.
I am absolutely fascinated by the Second World War. I have been since I was a child. My dad bought me a book for Christmas when I was about 5 of like armored vehicles, and I used to get him. He used to sit there at night and open the book to a certain page and go, "What's that?" And I'd be, "Oh, that's a T-34. What's that? Oh, that's a World War I Mark IV." So for me, and this may sound really strange, it would be Hitler, Churchill, and probably Stalin. I was going to go for Roosevelt, but I'd probably go for Stalin because, I think I'd go for Stalin because I'd have some questions for him. I mean, he killed more Russians than Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel it might kick off at that party. It's if you've got those 3 people together.
Hey, I didn't say my parties weren't interesting.
No, not at all. That is quite possibly the most surprising answer I've had so far.
I know
doing
you
this.
get people saying, "Oh, I'd have Gandhi and I'd have Mother Teresa." Nah, man, I want some people who caused the war, and I want to find out what went on in their heads.
Well, hopefully one of those is not the answer to one of the questions. We'll have to see. Okay,
Who in history would you most like to be? Well,
no. That is not the question, but there is one that's kind of like that. What would you most like to change about yourself?
Right. So my dad died quite a while ago, and he was a massive fanny, right?
Yeah,
He was a lovely man. He was completely harmless.
Okay,
Right.
you might
So
want to
fanny-
explain that
To our
for some of
American
our
people.
non-UK listeners.
So yeah, my dad was a ditherer.
Okay,
If you put him into a situation that he wasn't comfortable in, he would start to dither and fanny about, right?
Procrastinate?
So yeah, no, it's not so much procrastinate as can't make up his mind what he's going to do. So he'd be like, and it used to really bug me.
Right.
And it happens to me sometimes. And my wife says to me, "Oh, you like your bloody father?" And I'm like, so yeah, I have a dither gene.
A
And
dither gene.
I would like that to be. I'd like to be genetically altered to get rid of the dither gene.
Okay, but you recognise where it comes from then with your dad.
Oh yeah. I mean, I spent all my time, like yourself. I spent all my time in sort of, I wouldn't say like macho environments, but I was in the armed forces for a long time, and I was a firefighter for a long time.
Yeah.
And you have to, when you're at work, you kind of have to, you can't dither because there's lives at stake.
Yeah.
But in my home life, oh dear.
That's to me that's in because it's like at work I'm very much on it.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
absolutely.
I know what I'm doing. Structured.
Yeah.
But in like the real world outside of that, I haven't got a clue. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. The fact that we've managed to arrange a time and a date to do this is amazing to me.
And I've got trousers on.
Exactly. I don't. No, I do. But I don't plan rarely anything. I'm terrible at that, and it winds my friends and my family up the wall. It's like to be fair, the only stuff that I generally plan is like EGX is in 2 weeks. I have a ticket. It's stuff like that. But other than that,
Well
I'm
done.
like, yeah. Otherwise, it's like Saturday. I'll do something. Just figure something out.
I think it's one of those things where, I mean, I've been married. I've been with my wife for a long time. We've been married for a long time. And she's the exact opposite. She has lists and she organizes, and she has like little savings accounts. Oh, that's for the car insurance. This is for the holiday. This is for the dogs, the Kent. And I'm like, you're going on holiday. Where are we going? She's
Did you
just
know?
like, pack your underpants.
Did you know
and go.
that about her before you actually became a couple? And is that something that you were like, I need that in my life? Sort of thing.
Now, the fact that she was very slim and blonde and absolutely gorgeous, that was more like that's what I need in my life.
I mean,
and
it
all
doesn't
the benefits came. Yeah, all the benefits came with it. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, bless. That's lovely.
I
So
know.
you're what? Yeah. So it's like we've all got that friend that lives out of Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah, it's
Everything's
her.
regimented. But in the real world, I'm just footloose and fancy free in my way. So, what type of routine do you follow daily, if any type of routine at all?
Yeah, it's we've just got a new dog. We've just got a new puppy. He's only 6 months old. So it's usually, I mean, we used to do this. We had a dog previously, but unfortunately he died. So it was get up, have a cup of coffee, take the dog for a walk, have breakfast, go in, and then come into the mat cave. If I've got an idea for content, I'll maybe make the content. If I don't have an idea for content, I'll just play some video games. Because I'm retired. Sorry, I probably should have mentioned this. I retired from the fire brigade 2 years ago, and I'm actually retired. So I don't have a job to go to. I get paid to stay at home, which is really nice.
So I wouldn't complain. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So I was made redundant, as you know, from
That's
my
right,
last job, and I had all of summer off, and it was like, I could get used to this. How am I going to fit a job in with doing this? My only main problem was being able to fund it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I say to my friends, I don't know where I had the time to go to work.
And I can completely understand that, because I was like doing so much stuff. The thing that surprised me as well is I was not watching as much television or movies as I used to when I was employed at that point. And I was like, that's really weird. And I couldn't quite figure out why, but it was like...
when you're at work, you come home and you're tired, so the easiest thing to do is to...
That's more likely what it is. Yeah, I would think so. Okay, so who has inspired you the most? And that's the question. I'm like, please don't say you're one of your dinner party guests.
This is actually quite an easy one. I'm a massive fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Back in the 80s, it's about the time I joined the army. Yeah, I joined the army, and then I broke my ankle. I was a runner, so I was like 9.5 stone.
Yeah.
An absolute machine. And then strangely enough, on my birthday, on my 19th birthday, I fell out of a 3rd floor window. Backwards.
Sorry. Whoa. How did that happen?
Funny story. You'll know that in the army, so my birthday coincides with New Year's. It's the day before New Year. So if you're on guard duty over the Christmas period, there's basically nobody there except the people on guard duty. So there's usually if you're not on duty, there's usually shenanigans. Yeah. So we've been raiding other people's rooms, basically opening the door, flower bombing them, and then running off like giggling like big children. Because unfortunately, if you've ever been in the armed forces, that's what they do.
I was going to say, these are the people fighting for your freedom, and they're all massive children. Yeah. Right.
So because it was my birthday, I've been given loads of beer, and I had toilet paper wrapped around my head with eye holes ripped in it, and a bed sheet. This going back to my superhero fantasy. So you'll know
Marvel did not pick that one up, strangely enough.
Toilet paper, man. So what happened was, the old 70s style accommodation blocks that used to be in the army. Yeah. Well, there was no health and safety, so there was like the windows opened, because in those days, if you were stupid enough to fall out of a window and die, everybody was just like, well, it's his own stupid fault.
It's natural selection, isn't it? So.
There was no sticker on the window that said, do not sit on this window drunk and fall out of it backwards, which unfortunately is what I did, because I was sitting on the window ledge and my friend handed me a beer and he turned around to get his beer, and when he turned back, I'd gone. And he was like, where's he gone? So I'd gone to lean on the window, and I'd just straight down. Luckily, it was onto soft ground. And I didn't have the presence of mind to land on my feet.
I mean, that's quite impressive, to fall backwards out of a window and actually be able to land on your feet.
Yes. Yeah, well, all I remember is the wind rushing and hitting the ground rather hard. So, but anyway, getting back to the reason I like Arnold Schwarzenegger is after I broke my ankle, which was quite a bad injury. They told me I was probably going to get medically discharged from the army, but I managed to fight my way back. But I couldn't run anymore, so I got into bodybuilding. And at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously used to be Mr. Olympia, and this is about the time that Terminator came out, the James Cameron film, the original, the good one. And I was just like, this is amazing. Look at the physique on that guy. I want to look like that. So I've actually got his encyclopedia of bodybuilding like literally right in front of me.
How far did you go with bodybuilding then? Did you?
Oh, I didn't compete or anything.
No.
It was just personal. Just used to lift weights and enjoy myself, yeah.
Wow. So
it also helps when you're in the army that if you're a big fella, people leave you alone.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. So the Austrian oak has inspired you the most.
The Austrian oak has inspired me, yeah.
Cool. Right. So that's the first section. That's all the questions about you as a person. So the next section is more about sort of VR and gaming in general. So, and I think you may have already answered the first question, which was what was your first experience in gaming? And it sounds like it was in Miami with that.
It was, yeah. It was the Defender machine, and it wasn't until we came back to England about 1980, I think. Which house were we living in? we were living in right. So it'd have been about 1982, I think.
Okay.
And I pestered my mum and dad because I wanted an Atari VCS. So anybody
Wow.
that doesn't know, the Atari VCS it looked like a wood paneled games console. And it had the
The
joystick
the
with the stick.
undestroyable joystick that they
That's right,
made,
yeah.
which just looked like a big solid block of black rubber with a big red
Yeah.
button and one stick on top. Yeah.
And this is the incredible thing. It's still in my loft and it still works.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually rolled it out for a bit of content when the first Quest released, I think. So it'd been about 3 years ago. Plugged it in and it worked. I was very surprised. Yeah. Playing. Oh, so what was the game? Combat, where you had the tanks that you could bounce the shots around. There was the planes. And then I can't remember whether it's like your brain amalgamates things. I can't remember whether it was that year, but they brought out Defender, and that was like my big game. That was the one that I played a lot. I absolutely loved Defender. But yeah, that was like my first experience with video gaming was was Space Invaders. But my formative development was with the Atari VCS.
So I never had an Atari. My first ever games console was, I think it was the Sega Master System.
Okay, that's quite a lot. That's after Atari destroyed the market.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was one of the original Master Systems that had the card slot as well, the angular thing that they made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school.
Oh, yeah. No, well, both you and I are of that age. So, what was your first experience in VR?
Right, I was a sim racer. That was the thing. I built a pic. Well, no, I was playing on the Xbox actually, and I had the original Microsoft steering wheel.
Yeah, I remember the one.
I played like Forza, like Project Gotham Racing. Any remember that one? That was the one of the very first. And then there was Metropolis Street Racer, and then that morphed into, I think, Forza.
Do you know where the names for those games came from? Do you know why it's Gotham and Metropolis? Because they're the DC cities,
right.
aren't they?
Do you know that never occurred to me?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Well, see, it doesn't matter how old you are, you still learn something.
See, every day's a school day.
So when I like started to see the Oculus Rift and I think it was the Vive. I was never interested in PSVR. But when I saw that, I was just like, that is going to be incredible for sim racing. It's going to be incredible for sim racing. And I somebody might correct me, but I think the original Project Cars was VR compatible.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my first.
Yeah, that was my first experience playing in VR, and it was purely and simply because I wanted to sit in the car. And to this day, I still think it's one of the greatest things.
Which headset was that?
It was the original Rift.
The original Rift.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if you bought a Vive or a Rift, because I started on PC, I started with Vive.
I started with the Rift.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually, because if you remember when the Rift first came out, it came with one base station and an Xbox controller.
That is why I bought a Vive. Yeah. Again, I was a bit late to VR compared to a lot of people in this space and that sort of thing. Okay. Yeah. So what has been your favourite experience in VR?
Oh, gosh. Are you talking about my favourite game or my favourite experience?
Well, whatever you feel you want to say. Like I say, there are no right or wrong answers to these questions. Right, okay. So when I say experience, it could be a game, it could be an experience. I know within the sphere of VR, we do kind of define those as two different things, but I'm kind of like, what's the best thing what's your favourite thing that you've had while you've had a headset on? That's probably a better way of wording
that's actually a really easy question to answer for me. Because I was, like for me, it was sim racing. I was like, this is amazing for sim racing. This is amazing for sim racing. And then a game came out called Lone Echo. And if anybody's played Lone Echo, and I bang and on about it, it is possibly one of the most flawless VR games available, as far as there is a bit of backtracking in the later story, and they are trying to sort of, make it a little bit longer than it should be. But as far as locomotion goes, I mean, as far as graphics, that game is still amazing today.
Yeah.
But there's one particular thing, and there was a point where I was playing the game, and there's like a bit where you have to go and fix a solar panel. So I was out literally around the rings of Saturn, floating in space, fixing a satellite, fixing a solar panel. And then I got like a distress call, and there was like an anomaly had appeared, and blah blah blah. And then your companion Liv, she gets her foot stuck, and you have to like go there and like use your little laser cutter to get her foot out. And then as you cut her foot out, I looked up and boom, that alien ship appeared right in front of me. And because of VR, the scale was off the chart. And I remember thinking, holy mother, this is what VR can do. So it went from focusing on sim racing to like, well, that's just one of the greatest. It's not just like, like the movie moment, like Luke, I am your father. It was like everything, it was cinematic. It was shocking. The scale was enormous. So for me, that the bit where the alien ship appears in Lone Echo.
Yeah. See, I remember I've played Lone Echo, obviously, and I streamed the whole thing actually when I did that. And I remember towards the end of the game, I'd actually become quite emotionally invested in the story and Liv. And you really have to, not to ruin anything, but you have to. And I was like, I can do it, Liv, okay, like this sort of thing. And I really, really got invested. It was bizarre.
Yeah. There was a point where I was like, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do. This can't be it.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very underrated game. If you haven't played it, go and play it.
Would you say it's underrated?
I think you've got to remember there's a lot of people who came into VR with the Quest 2 and they don't know about the history. They don't know about
I would get that.
Game.
Yeah, I would say people don't know it, but I would say the people that do would rate it.
It's interesting because I think the Quest 3 could run Lone Echo if they ported it. It wouldn't be as pretty, but taking into account Asgard's Wrath and stuff like that.
Sure. We're never going to find that out, though, unfortunately. So.
No, we're not, because I think the studio shut, didn't it?
Yeah, they did. They closed Ready at Dawn, unfortunately.
Ready at Dawn, yeah, I was going to say that was a...
Yeah. Okay, so what has been your worst experience in VR?
Medal of Honor. Above and Beyond.
Oh!
I'm a huge Medal of Honor fan.
Okay.
Medal of Honor Airborne, Medal of Honor Guadalcanal, Medal of Honor Jeep Simulator. I was just like, Medal of Honor. I just love Medal of Honor.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So obviously when they said it was going to come out in VR, I was like, oh. Medal of Honor multiplayer and a Medal of Honor single player campaign. Thank you. And then it turned into the biggest pile of steaming doggy do that I've possibly ever come across.
See,
had its moments.
I really like the multiplayer of that. But again, it's the usual thing of everyone plays it for 2 weeks and then no one touches it again. Unless you're one of the big boys, unless you're the Onward or the, that sort of stuff, or Pavlov. It's very difficult to keep that going.
It is. And it's especially difficult if you screw it up after you've built your player base. Because they basically went, all right, here we go. Here's the game. And everybody's like, I played the multiplayer on day one and the servers were empty.
Yeah.
And I was like,
didn't they have issues with them?
Oh,
it was like Firewall when they launched the first Firewall and the second one, to be fair,
and the second one,
and when
and Larcenauts, and Frenzies. That's just launched, and a lot of people couldn't play it, and it's a multiplayer game.
So as of today's recording, Frenzies, I believe, launched yesterday or today. Yeah.
What day is it today? It's Saturday, isn't it?
It is. I think it's today. I think I saw something from End Dreams Count up there. I can't comment because I haven't tried it, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's Medal of Honor was a massive disappointment. I mean, there was a bit on the train with Gustav. Gustav, you could hit him over the head with a frying pan. There was the Gestapo raid on the Gestapo. Excellent. I don't know what the two French blokes had been taking before they turned up. You remember that with the big?
I do.
Have you been on the mushrooms? No. But it had its moments. But then, oh my god, it was just such a bad game.
I think it had a very good onboarding mechanic at the beginning.
Right.
Where, because someone like you or me, because we've been around for a fair while with VR, the first thing we do when we fire up a game is go straight into the options menu because I know what I want.
Yeah,
exactly. And then, boom, want that, turn that off, turn that off, turn that on, turn that on. But this had the one where you're sitting in the hospital bed and it was, do this. Does that feel comfortable?
I forgot about that, yeah.
Does that feel comfortable? And I thought that was a really good onboarding for new VR people.
Yeah.
The main issue I had with that is you couldn't skip it if you didn't want to do it. So, yeah. But I think its onboarding was good. I think, it was good.
I would also like to put in a runner-up category here.
Go for it.
And that's Hitman 3 VR Reloaded on the Quest.
I have not played it. I have heard all the things, to the point that when recently we had the State of Play from PlayStation and they showed, and Hitman 3 Reloaded is going to PSVR 2. And I was like, again? But apparently it's a different studio that has worked on that one.
Yeah, it seems to me like they've learned that we don't want to unlock a door by pressing a button. We don't want to load a gun by pressing a button. We actually want to physically do it.
I was going to say, when you say pressing a button, you mean pressing the button on the controller rather than reaching out and pressing a button in the space. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, when I reload my gun, I want to drop the magazine.
Yeah.
Magazine in, cock my gun, holster it. If I'm breaking into somewhere using a pick, I want to physically do the act, not like A, keep pressing A, keep pressing A.
Yeah.
Hitman, I live streamed it, and after 2 hours, I just laughed and gave up. It was so bad.
No, that's terrible. I did that with, what was it? Espire 1, when that first came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I played that launch day, and it had a thing, when you got injured, there was a voice that just constantly said, "You are damaged, repair yourself. You are damaged, repair yourself." And it wouldn't shut up. And I was like, I know I'm damaged. I don't need you to keep fucking telling me. And I rage quit the stream. I was literally like, I'm done with this shit, and went off. They did patch that out. So I do want to give them kudos that they did patch that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when trying a new game, whether it be VR or flat screen, what instantly turns you on or off? And I think you alluded to one thing just then, which is not being able to do the physical stuff.
Yeah. The one thing that stops me, if I'm playing flat screen games, it's not being able to invert the Y-axis. Because I'm in the 20%.
Dude. Oh, that is 20%. Music to my ears.
I invert my Y-axis. And if your game doesn't have... Why
wouldn't you?
I know.
I don't understand,
Oh, you weirdos. The 80% of other... It must be something to do with the side of your brain. I don't know how it works, but I cannot play a game if you can't invert the Y-axis.
I can't. The way I envision it is, imagine there is a stick sticking out the top of your head, and you're moving that to look around.
Yeah.
And you pull back to look up. Like this.
Look up, yeah, exactly.
You know,
well, you're speaking to the converted. So,
I know. Sound off in the comments, people. You weirdos. Okay.
So that's one thing. No, it's difficult because actually you alluded to it. If you can't turn off the vignette or it's smooth, like smooth turning makes me feel ill. I can't do it. So I'm a snap turner. So if I can't snap turn, and you make me have a vignette, no, give me a choice. I've been playing VR for like 8 years. I play rally games with no comfort options on, except the Fix the Horizon one, because that would make you vomit. yeah, so that would stop me as well.
That's strange because I hate snap turning. Snap turning makes me feel ill. Makes me feel very disorientated. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well,
I would if I can't smooth turn, I would rather physically turn around in space.
Yeah. To be fair, I only really use snap turn if I'm streaming, so that I'm always facing toward the camera.
Okay, I get that.
But if I'm just playing for fun, I'll probably not.
You'll physically turn around.
Yeah, I'll physically turn around. I mean,
but smooth turning, it's a no-go.
No, it's a no-go. I can't remember which game it was, but it was like no snap turn option. Refund. Luckily, it wasn't PlayStation; it was Quest.
Oh yeah, I only know one person who's ever managed to get a refund out of Sony on a game.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
And they spent, I think it was about a month of emails back and forth. And in the end, I think Sony were just like, I just don't want to talk to this person anymore. So they gave him his money back.
I think somebody in my community, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Mo Beast. I'm not too sure, not 100%. Don't quote me. But I think they bought Firewall Ultra. They pre-ordered it. They didn't download it. They saw that everybody's reviews were like, this is, I know we played on launch day and you were like, no. Yeah. And I was
I'm well aware, and we spoke about this on another episode actually with someone, and I'm well aware I have some sort of Stockholm syndrome when it comes to that game. It's fine.
Yeah. So that's on me. He pre-ordered it. He never downloaded it. He asked for a refund. They said no. And he's like, but I haven't even downloaded it. And they were like, no. So he paid for it with his credit card. So he got his credit card to refund him. So Sony blocked his account.
Wow.
They basically bricked his PlayStation. So
Ouch.
if you are the person that happened to, shout out in the comments, because that is actually it was a big thread on my Discord for quite a long time.
Did it ever get unlocked again, or is it just?
It did get unlocked, but he had to pay the money back.
Wow, that is literally holding you for ransom.
Yeah, and why?
Well, because they don't have a refund policy. But this is the thing: it's like when you don't buy a game now, you buy a license to access that game. It's and people generally, a lot of people don't realise that. No. They're kind of like, you don't own anything anymore when it comes to this sort of thing. The minute Steam decides, we're not going to work anymore, everyone's screwed.
Yeah, I've got thousands of pounds worth of games on Steam.
Yeah.
When was the last time you went down to your local game?
Well, because there aren't any anymore.
Exactly.
This is the problem.
Well, that's because nobody was going. So the last physical copies I had, because I bought a PlayStation 5 to play my PSVR 2 on, and they never discount games. It's like Resident Evil Village was like 70 quid. I was like, what? Gran Turismo, 60 quid. Resident Evil 4 was ridiculous. I think they did discount it about a day before they did the remake release, but so I went and just got some physical copies off eBay.
Right. Do you remember, because around the time in the UK we had two main games shops. There was Game and there was Game Station. Do you remember Game Station?
I think Game was more of a up here.
Okay. So Game Station had a policy that was refund or exchange, new thing, 30 days, no questions asked.
Yeah, I remember that.
No questions asked at all. And I got made redundant. It was the middle of the IT crash in the UK, and I lost my job and was out of work for a year. And I bought one game at the beginning of that year.
I know where you're going with this, yeah.
I literally played it 30 days or whatever it took me to finish it, took it back and got the next latest release, and I did that for an entire year until I got a job because I had the time to do it. And strangely enough, they're not in business anymore. So
I know.
okay, quick jump cut there because Mac's clearly going through male menopause and got too hot and needs to take off his sweatshirt.
And my trousers.
And your trousers, where you want to feel at home, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
It's good. Okay. So, what do you think right now is the most beneficial hardware or software advancement in VR?
Oh, that's hardware or software. See, I don't.
But what do you think is, what's been the best thing that's happened recently, or at the minute that you think actually that's the killer thing? That's the thing that's gonna.
I think it's Orion.
Orion. Okay, so you're talking about the new Meta AI glasses.
So the reason I said that is because a couple of weeks ago I got a pair of X-Real Air 2 Pros.
Oh, you got the Pros. Okay.
Yeah, which they've got the shuttered. You can change the dimming.
The photochromatic dimming.
That's right. Yeah. So the Pro, I think that's the only difference between the Pro and the 2.
It is. Yeah. Because I've got the 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, put them on. I've got the Beam Pro. I've tried it with my phone as well. It works perfectly well with the phone. So the reason I don't play as many flat games as I used to is because my wife sits in the living room reading a book, and if I'm playing on the console, she gets annoyed. So she was sitting on the settee actually watching the telly, and I was sat there with the X-Real 2 Pros on, playing Halo on a 120 centimeter screen, Halo Infinite, and I was just like, this is incredible. I had my headphones in, so she couldn't hear me. I had the screen, the chromatic lenses dimmed to black, so I couldn't see the telly. I had peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And I was just playing Halo Infinite, and we were there for an hour and a half, and she didn't disturb me, and I didn't disturb her. So I think that thing like the Ray-Ban Metas, the X-Reals, I mean, the Orion he says it's like 5 to 10 years off.
Yeah.
Because they're hugely expensive to manufacture. But I do honestly believe that one day you're not going to have one of these. You're just going to have a pair of glasses. And everything you do is going to be on your glasses. You're going to have your camera, you're going to have your video, you're going to have your audio, you're going to take pictures with it, you're going to be able to watch on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is.
So here's a question for you on that then. So both you and I actually wear glasses.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just a natural evolution for us anyway, because we're always wearing glasses anyway. But there are people who don't wear glasses. So do you think people are going to adopt just wearing glasses for this sort of thing?
So when you used to go on holidays to take a camera or a video camera if you were posh, and then you would have your phone, and then you would have your iPod or your Sony Walkman, and now it's all here, and people don't think twice about walking around with this bit of technology in their hands that basically does everything, and for some people it dominates their lives. So having something that you can just pop on your face, might have chromatic dimming. You might be able to use them as sunglasses. You can have your prescription lenses in them. If you don't wear glasses, you don't need your prescription lenses. I don't know. There might be a way of actually having your lenses that can adapt to what you're doing. So I don't need glasses for distance. I don't need glasses for driving, but I need glasses for reading or a longer arm. So, you might be able to adapt you might have, you might just say to your glasses, I'd like to read, and they would adapt to your reading prescription. I mean, it's all science fiction, but it's like Elon Musk's Robovan. He said, if it's going to be science fiction, it has to look science fiction.
That thing does look like it's out of the Next Generation. When I saw the pictures to the inside, I was like, you just ripped off exactly what happens in that show. But you're saying, so again, I used to carry around with me my phone and my Pixel Buds and all that sort of stuff. And now, so I have the Ray-Ban Metas. And now
Yeah.
it's one less thing for me to carry around, which is the Pixel Buds. I don't use those anymore. I just use the glasses to listen to podcasts or when I'm working. So I can see the reducing the amount of stuff that you need to carry with you.
So what you're doing is you're making your life more convenient by reducing the amount of steps you need to do what you want. So I like to listen to music when I'm in the office. So I've got one of those annoying Echoes. I'm not going to say her name, otherwise she will spark up and be annoying. So I just walk in to my office in the morning and I go, whoever you are, young lady, turn off my alarm, turn on my heating, play hits radio.
Yeah, I've got the other variant of that at home from the big other company that does those. Yeah, you've got the A ones, I've got the G ones. And the first thing I do, I ask it in the morning, what have I got on today, and what's going on in the world, and it'll just tell me the news and stuff like that. And now I can do that with the glasses as well, because while I was in America, the AI part of it unlocked, and I was like, keeping that. Came home, and it's like I'm like, do I still want to get them to update, or is it going to take it away? I'm not sure. So we'll see.
Oh, I mean, one of the amazing things I thought about that, because I like me and my wife like to travel. We like to go away once a year, and for 2 weeks we will go somewhere that isn't touristy. We've been to China, I've been to Cambodia,
Peckham.
I've been to. Actually, yes, I used to go to the baths at Peckham.
That was a joke.
No, I used to go swimming when I was a child. I used to go swimming at Peckham Baths. And so one of the amazing things I thought during that demonstration was where Zuckerberg, and bless him, he's grown his hair out and he doesn't look as weird as he used to. I think
looks jacked now.
He does. Oh, he's doing all that martial arts. So anyway, he got the Roberto Moreno, I think his name is, who was a UFC champion. And they spoke English and Spanish to each other. And I thought, oh my God, that's incredible. So if I could go abroad and say to somebody, blah, 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 whatever, and then my glasses could tell me what they say. Off the charts.
I mean, I saw that and I was like thinking back to my days working at Honda with the Japanese, and I'm like, that would have been so nice. But that's really good. Okay. So what has been your proudest achievement in your VR journey?
Oh, wow. This may be bizarre, and people who've been members of my channel for a long time will know this story. But when I retired on February the 28th, 2022, and my idea was to go, right, I am going full time on YouTube, right? So I finished my night shift on the Thursday morning, went out, had a few beers with the wife and a nice meal, got up on Friday morning a bit bleary-eyed. And I'd been banned from Facebook, which at the time meant that my Quest was bricked. And they were like,
how did that happen?
So I was like, well, my account's been hacked, because basically my Facebook account, I don't use my Facebook account for anything else than me. I put photographs on there, I put trips that I've been on, so that in a year's time they come up on my memories and I can go to the wife, oh, look at that, remember when we did this? So that's I'm not like,
is that because you're old and you can't remember these things? And
exactly.
Is that what it is? Who's that?
What's that smell? Oh, it's me. So what had happened was, I wasn't drunk, but I was a bit inebriated. I've got a friend I'm a massive petrol head, as you know, a fellow Porsche owner. And he's got one of those crazy Subaru WRX monster things. And he's always wanted a Nissan GTR, and somebody was selling one near to where he lived, and he posted a picture, and nice. I was like, dude, sell a kidney. Banned. That was it.
Oh, because you said sell a kidney.
Because I said sell a kidney. They banned my account. They told me there was no right of reply. My account was gone. So, like, to me,
because you've been trafficking in organs. This is what I read.
a humanist firefighter who traffics organs in his spare time. Yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect cover, to be fair.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, it was. And anyway, eventually, after 5 weeks of like, oh my god, I mean, Paradise Decay tried to help me, GT tried to help me, Gamertag tried to help me, Steve Knows tried to help me, Mike from
I think
VRO.
I remember this.
Yeah, they all tried to help me, and eventually, I got my account back. That was a big relief. But in VR, I think my proudest moment was actually starting my channel and then it growing until last year when I had burnout.
Which,
but it happens.
no, absolutely. I mean, like I say, I've never been a big content creator in any way, shape, or form. I've made some fun stuff, but even I was like, I've just done for a while. And then there are little things that kind of drag you back in. But I think a lot of people don't realise the amount of time, effort, graft, and hard work it actually takes to make a channel. You hear a lot of kids going, I want to be a YouTuber. And you like, save yourself. Go and do something else.
Go and do something else. They all think they're going to be making content and getting sponsorship and doing all this. It's not. It's hard graft. And this happens so often. You put your heart and soul into a video and you spend 3 or 4 days, planning it, scripting it, filming it, doing the B-roll, and you put it up and you're like, yes, I've even nailed the thumbnail. And then nobody watches it and you're like, and that is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Again, and it's never the things you think that are going to hit. Yeah. It's always something else. Because I remember I'm quite bad. I like get fixated on numbers. And it's like, that's the worst thing you can do if you're doing this sort of stuff. So I'm just like, so for me, it's kind of like, it's a hobby. I'm just going to do what I want to do and when I want to do it. Because if I did it any other way, I would go out of my fucking mind. So I'm not doing that.
But I would like to say, because, I do the podcast with, obviously you were on the Christmas special. I do the podcast with Surgical and I do the podcast with Power On. And Power On was in a very similar situation to you. He got forced out of his job by a crazy person. And he was like, I'm going to go all in on YouTube.
I'm going to use the word allegedly there in case anyone is watching this.
Nobody knows who. Yeah. I actually know all the details as well, and no, he's a crazy person. Allegedly.
Good man.
So he said, I've got 6 months. I've got enough money to last 6 months if we tighten our belts, and he went for it. And he went from,
I'd say he's doing well,
12,000 subs in about 2 months. He's gone up to over 120,000 subs.
Oh, that's insane.
It's absolutely insane. He was
incredibly proud of him.
So yeah, absolutely well done to him. And I'm not like leeching pride away from him. I'm just saying, well, he's my friend, and I hope I had something to do with that, because he's a really nice fella.
No, I'm sure you did. Absolutely. Cool. That is all of the questions regarding VR and gaming. And the last section, 10 questions. This is from a series of questions that were created by a French journalist called Bernard Pivot. So they're very quick fire questions, quick answers. Don't think about them too much. Just come out with the answer. So, first of all, what's your favourite word?
Moist.
What's your least favourite word?
Oh, crikey. Do you know what it is? It's definitely.
Okay.
I can't spell it. No matter how many times I try, I can't spell definitely.
You definitely cannot spell definitely.
Just got a mental block.
Right. So what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively, if I'll use an example here, like I love Batman, and the Batman game is coming imminently. That excites me.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
I'm
doing something I don't normally do. I'm letting myself care, and I just don't want to. This is not
Please
good.
Don't hurt me. I loved all the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I loved the Arkham Asylum games, and this game looks
in that
like it's
world.
going to be. It's in that world. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hugely excited. So yeah, taking an IP that I'm invested in, and then making it into a video game. I'm watching you, Halo Studios.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going off at the minute as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. What turns you off?
Turns me off. Oh God, I can sum this up in one game, and it's Hitman 3 VR Reloaded, because that
Well-
game it has so much potential.
Okay, so it's missed potential, we would say then,
Missed
is what
potential,
turns you
yeah.
off.
As soon as
Okay.
I put the headset on, I looked at it and went, they can't even get the menus right.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your favourite curse word?
Am I allowed to say it?
Yes, absolutely.
Cunt.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right. I'm going to tell you now, I've recorded a few of these, and that has been the most popular one that has come up. Okay.
I think because Fox has lost its impact.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same venom, I would say, as that one.
Yeah.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, right. So this has only happened to me recently. It's birdsong.
Oh,
Because I spend a lot of time out with my dog, and I got a little app. I can't even remember what it's called. I have a quick look on here. I've got an app, and it's called
Tweeter. Tweeter or something.
Yeah, Merlin Bird ID. So basically, you put it on and you just hold it out, and it identifies the bird song. I know this is really bizarre, isn't it?
This is like Pokemon for birdsong, isn't it?
It is. And so, I mean, I'm really lucky because I live right next to I live right next to a nature reserve. So I go down there. I take my dog for a walk. There's benches and stuff around. We'll walk for a certain amount of time. I'll put my phone on and I'll just sit there and look at what the birds are. And I'm starting to get that now. So I can actually identify certain birds. And it's just something I've never took any interest in. And yeah, it's just really nice. Nothing more beautiful than the sound of a goldfinch or a chiffchaff.
Okay. So what sound or noise do you hate?
Sirens.
I can completely understand why you would say that one. Obviously, you don't work at the moment, but apart from your channel. But what profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
Oh, crikey. I don't suppose I can say porn star, could I?
I mean, you can say porn star.
Now, I always thought that if I hadn't done what I'd done, I'd have probably been into sports physiotherapy or something like that. Because that was something I've been involved in sport and like martial arts, boxing and mountain biking my whole life. So I know how debilitating an injury can be. So I would probably be a sports therapist.
Wow. So what profession would you not like to do?
Policeman. Honestly, I can't tolerate people. I like. I know this sounds really bizarre. I'm a YouTube content creator who can't tolerate people. Now, what I mean is, there's people I like, and I know that I like them as soon as I meet them, and then there's everybody else.
Fair
I
enough.
couldn't be a policeman because I couldn't deal with all the idiots.
Cool. And our final question for the interview, Mac, is: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I didn't know you could handbrake turn at 120 miles an hour.
So that alludes how you got there as well. I guess that's excellent. Mac, that has been Inside the Headset. Thank you very, very much for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I have, mate. It's been absolutely brilliant. I didn't know what to expect, but it's been an absolute blast.
That's why I've tried to keep it a bit quiet on what's actually going on here, just to make it a bit more interesting for people. Tell everyone who's watching where they can find you and what you can.
You can find me on YouTube, Mac in VR. You can find me on Twitter, Mac in VR. I do have a TikTok account, but I don't really use it because I'm concentrating on my YouTube at the moment.
That's cool. All of those links will be in the description below. Like I say, leave us a comment, leave us a like if you've enjoyed what you've heard here. If you've got someone you'd like to come on the show, give us a shout. Let's see if we can arrange it. If you want to come on the show, give us a shout. Let's arrange it and we'll see what we can do. But again, thank you very much, Mac. Pleasure to chat
very
as
much.
always.
I shall see you at EGX, I think.
You will. That will probably be in the past, depending on when this is actually released. But yeah, we will. We do that.
We have already met at EGX.
I'm trying to get a load done and then upload them so that when other people come on, they haven't had a chance to hear the questions first. That's kind of the idea, because I don't want people to prepare stuff. And I have said this at pretty much the end of every single one of these, so people are probably bored of that. But for now, thank you very much, and goodbye to everyone watching. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. See you on the other side.